Okay, picture this. You're stuck in a tiny, hot room, no air conditioning, and you're with 11 total strangers. The thing is, you're not just there to pass the time. You have to decide if a young man lives or dies. That's pretty much the entire setup for the film 12 Angry Men. And believe me, it's an absolute masterclass in tension, all built around one single vote.
11. That's the number. The second they walk into that jury room, 11 guys are ready to convict. To them, it's simple. They've heard it all, they've seen the kid, and yeah, he's guilty. Done deal. An open and shut case, right? Well, not quite.
And here's why. That very first vote comes back like this: 11 for guilty and just 1 for not guilty. I mean, can you imagine the pressure in that room? It's not just the stifling heat, it's the sheer weight of 11 other people staring you down. Everybody wants out. They want to go home. But that one guy, he insists they actually talk about it.
And really, that brings us to the single most important question of the entire movie, the thing that drives every single conversation. What's the real difference between a fact and a prejudice? Are these guys actually looking at the evidence, or are they just voting based on, their own baggage, their own biases, the stuff they walked into that room with?
So let's look at what they thought was an open and shut case. The setup seems pretty cut and dry. We're in New York City. It's the hottest day of the year. The defendant is an 18-year-old kid from a rough neighborhood, accused of murdering his own father. The prosecution's got 2 witnesses. They've got what they say is a unique murder weapon. I mean, everything is pointing to a quick, guilty verdict.
But here's the kicker. The judge lays down the law, and it's a big one. To find the kid guilty, there can't be any reasonable doubt. We're not talking about being pretty sure or mostly sure. Nope. You have to be morally certain. If there's even a tiny crack of doubt, you have to vote not guilty. And that one instruction, it changes everything. It's the bedrock for the whole argument.
So who's the lone voice of doubt? Well, that would be juror number 8, played by the legendary Henry Fonda. He's our guy. He's the one who raises his hand for not guilty. And the thing is, he doesn't walk in with some master plan or a secret piece of evidence. All he has is a question, a little nagging doubt, and just enough courage to say it out loud.
And this is what makes his character so amazing. He says, I'm not saying he's innocent, I just don't know. He's not trying to be a hero or prove everyone wrong. His point is so simple, but so powerful. A human life is at stake. Don't they owe it to the kid and to themselves to at least talk for a little while? It's not about proving innocence, it's about honoring their duty.
What's fascinating is that this whole movie is basically a perfect textbook example of something called minority influence. It's a real idea in social psychology. It says that one person, if they're consistent and rational, can actually get a huge majority to stop and rethink everything. And that's exactly what juror number 8 does. He doesn't yell, he doesn't get aggressive, he just stays calm, asks questions, and pokes holes in their certainty until they have to listen.
All right, so once they're forced to actually talk, it becomes obvious pretty fast that the kid on trial isn't the only one being judged. Oh no, the jury room itself becomes a courtroom. All the ugly stuff, the personal hang-ups, the racism, the pure indifference, it all starts bubbling up to the surface. And this jury, wow, it's like a little snapshot of all of society crammed into one room. You've got juror number 3, the angry dad, who's clearly just taking out his issues with his own son on this poor kid. Then there's juror number 7, the sports fan, who literally just wants to get this over with so he can make it to a baseball game. And you can't forget juror number 10, the bigot, who isn't even trying to hide his prejudice. For these guys, the facts are totally irrelevant. So how on earth does one guy start to unravel all this? Well, juror #8 is methodical. He's smart. He doesn't get into shouting matches. Instead, he just starts taking the prosecution's case apart, piece by piece, forcing them to look again at the so-called facts they all just blindly accepted. And he hones in on 3 key things. First, that supposedly unique knife. Second, the story told by the old man who lived in the apartment below. And third, the testimony from the woman who swears she saw the whole thing happen from her window. Okay, this is the first huge moment. The prosecution's whole case partly rests on this switchblade being totally one of a kind. Then juror #8 just casually reaches into his pocket, pulls out an identical knife, and stabs it into the table. Boom. Just like that, the unique weapon isn't so unique anymore. And for the first time, you can see a little bit of that reasonable doubt start to form in the other jurors' eyes.
Next up is the old man's testimony.
He said he heard the fight, heard the body drop, and then ran to his front door in 15 seconds to see the kid fleeing. So what do? They reenact it right there in the jury room. They measure it out, they time it, and there's just no way. An old man who drags his leg couldn't have made it that fast. Not even close. Another so-called fact just goes up in smoke.
And then comes this quiet little observation. It's not even from juror #8, it's from juror #9, the elderly juror. He notices another juror rubbing the bridge of his nose, right where his glasses leave those little marks. And that tiny, seemingly insignificant detail, it's about to blow the whole case wide open.
Because it clicks. That observation leads to a bombshell. The star witness, the woman across the street who swore she saw the murder through her window, she had the exact same marks on her nose, meaning she wore glasses. And think about it. Who wears their glasses to bed? She would have been looking out her window in the middle of the night without them. Could she really have seen what she said she saw? Suddenly, the prosecution's airtight witness isn't so airtight anymore.
So, with the evidence basically shredded, the votes start to flip. But now it's not just about logic anymore. For the last few guys holding out, this has become something else entirely. It's about facing their own prejudices, their own pain. It's a full-on emotional breakdown.
And it all comes down to juror number 3, the last man standing. His anger has been personal this whole time. It's all tied up in his broken relationship with his own son. And juror number 8 just looks at him and says, "He's not your boy. He's somebody else." And with that one line, he forces him to see that he's not judging the kid in the courtroom, he's judging his own son. It's just a devastating, powerful moment. And that's it. Juror #3 just breaks down. He finally relents. The verdict is unanimous, not guilty. And what's amazing is nobody cheers. There's no celebration. There's just silence. The quiet, heavy understanding of what they just did. They saved a life. And you can feel the weight of that responsibility in the room.
So you have to ask yourself, why are we still talking about a black and white movie from 1957 that takes place almost entirely in one single room? Well, because it's so much more than just a movie. It's a timeless lesson. It's about prejudice, it's about reason, and really, it's about what it means to be human.
I mean, think about its legacy. It's literally required viewing in law schools to teach reasonable doubt. Psychology classes use it to explain group dynamics. Its story is so powerful and so universal that it's been remade all over the world. It's a masterclass in moral courage, and it's a powerful reminder of what civic duty actually looks like.
If you had to boil the whole movie down to one idea, it would be this. Justice isn't about who has the most votes. It's not a popularity contest. It's the voice of conscience. It's about doing the hard, lonely work of questioning everything, especially when you're the only one doing it.
So the film leaves us with a really powerful question to think about in our own lives. It shows us what true courage looks like, standing up when it's 11-1 against you. And it makes you wonder, when the pressure is on, when everyone around you is absolutely certain, when is standing completely alone the right and maybe the only thing to do?